Hello and welcome to one and all. In today's class, we will check out the next short answer question, income demand. So SAQ 14 discuss the concept of income demand. So basically, the relationship between income and demand is income demand. The relationship between price and demand is the price demand. So income demand, if you have write the introduction, the meaning of income demand, and so the functional relationship between the demand for a commodity and the consumer's income, other factors remaining constant, is known as income demand. Okay, so it can be expressed as d of x is equal to f of y, assuming other factors constant. What is d of x here? D of x is the demand for commodity x. F represents the functional relationship or function, and y represents the income of the consumer. Okay, so the relationship between consumers' income and the demand for good depends upon the nature of the commodity. Okay, some type of commodity will have the direct relation, and some type of commodity will have the indirect relation. So the direct relation is for the superior, which is also called as the normal good, and it is indirect for the inferior goods. Okay, so that's why the relationship between consumers' income and demand for a good is direct for superior or normal goods and indirect for inferior goods. So this can be explained with the help of a table, that is the income demand schedule and the diagram. Okay, first let us check out the income demand schedule. Now what is the meaning of income demand schedule? So the consumers has a definite set of quantities demanded of superior and inferior commodities at various levels of income. So when my income is rupees 10,000, this is the quantity I am going to demand superior good. This is the quantity I am going to demand for the inferior good. So if my income increases to 20,000, how much will be the quantity demanded of the superior good and how much will be the quantity of demanded of the inferior good. So like that, if you are arranging in the form of a table or a schedule, that is what is known as the income demand schedule. Okay, now let us check out the meaning. The various quantities of superior and inferior goods demanded by a consumer at various levels of income can be expressed in the form of a table, which is known as the income demand schedule. Okay, now this is a hypothetical table. So first column is representing the income earned by the consumer. The second one is representing both the superior goods as well as the inferior good. So now what is happening? When the income of the consumer is rupees 5,000, so the superior good, assuming it is a Sona Masuri rice, 1 kg, the consumer can afford 1 kg of superior good, that is a Sona Masuri rice, but he is purchasing 10 kgs of inferior good broken rice. So broken rice is an inferior good compared to Sona Masuri rice. When the income of the consumer increases from 5,000 to 7,000, what is happening? The consumer is increasing the consumption, increasing the demand of superior good, that is Sona Masuri rice. From 1 kg, now he is able to purchase 2 kgs, whereas he is decreasing the consumption or the demand of inferior good, because when the income of the consumer increases, he need not have to purchase the inferior good. The consumer can afford the superior good. Okay, so like that, when the income of the consumer keeps on increasing from 7,000 to 9,000, 11,000 and 13,000, you can see that the demand for Sona Masuri rice or the superior good increases from 2 kgs, 3 kgs, 4 kgs and 5 kgs respectively. Simultaneously, you can see that the demand for inferior good, that is the broken rice, has declined from 8 kgs to 6 kgs, 4 kgs and finally reduced to 2 kgs. Okay, so this is what is happening. When the income of the consumer increases, the demand for broken rice, the demand for inferior goods will decrease, that is indirect relationship. But the demand for superior goods, that is a Sona Masuri rice, is increasing. That's why they are having a direct relationship. Okay, the same thing to be written in words. In the above table, we can see that as the income of the consumer increases from rupees 5,000 to rupees 13,000, the demand for superior good, that is Sona Masuri rice, increases from 1 kg to 5 kgs, while that of inferior good, that is the broken rice, decreases from 10 kgs to 2 kgs. Okay, the same thing can be expressed in the form of a diagram also. So first the diagram for superior goods, which is also called as the normal goods. So what is happening here? The x-axis representing the quantity demanded of Sona Masuri rice, that is a superior good. On the y-axis, we are representing the income of the consumer. So when the income of the consumer is y, the quantity demanded happens to be q, that is OQ. When the income of the consumer increases from y to y1, the quantity demanded of Sona Masuri rice has increased from q to q1. So we are getting that dy is the positive or the upward sloping income demand curve for superior good. So that's what we are writing in the sentences also. In the above diagram, we can see that the quantity demanded of superior good, that is the Sona Masuri rice, increases from q to q1 as the income of the consumer increases from y to y1. Thus the income demand curve, that is yd, is positive. Upward sloping means this is positive, or upward sloping, indicating direct relationship between quantity demanded and of superior or normal goods and consumers income. Now what is happening to the inferior commodity? So the next diagram will represent the inferior commodity. So you can see that the quantity demanded of broken rice is represented on the x-axis and income of the consumer is represented on the y-axis. So you can see that when the income of the consumer is y, the quantity demanded is q, but when the income of the consumer increases to y1, the quantity demanded of the broken rice has decreased to q1. So when the income increased from y to y1, the quantity demanded decreased from q to q1. Okay, so we are having the downward sloping or negative sloping income demand curve for inferior good, indicating the indirect relationship. Okay, so that is what we are writing in the words. In this diagram, we can find that the quantity demand of inferior good, that is the broken rice, decreases from q to q1 as the income of the consumer rises from y to y1. So the quantity demanded decreased from q to q1, it is decreasing, but whereas the income of the consumer is increasing from y to y1. So you are having the downward sloping demand curve. But what is happening for the superior good? The quantity demanded is increasing from q to q1 when the income of the consumer is increasing from y to y1. So now we are having the upward sloping demand curve. Okay, so the income of the consumer rises from y to y1, indicating inverse relationship between consumer's income and the quantity demanded for an inferior good. Okay, hence the income demand curve is downward sloping or has a negative slope. Okay, this is a 5 marks answer. Explain the concept of income demand, and you might get even for 2 marks also. So 2 marks you have to mention what is the meaning of income demand, the formula, and then the up to here. Okay, you can mention that for 2 marks. It is direct for superior goods and indirect for inferior goods. Okay, hope you have understood. If you find this video useful, please like, share, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any doubts, please mention in the comment box. Okay, so until my next class, take care. Bye bye.